When you look at this Missouri team, really came away impressed, especially with what Coach Drinkwitz and his staff have done without spring ball. Probably not your usual summer and fall camp. The way they put it together in the last game, I know the game didn't turn out the way they wanted, but just watching them play, the way they played, the toughness they played with, they never quit. The physicality, very well coached, and I'm sure they're just like us from week 1 to week 2. They want to make as much improvement as they possibly can. So we will definitely need to play a complete game to have a shot in this game. So, it's a challenge to our players, and trying to create the right habits fundamentally in all 3 phases, and something we've really tried to address over the last 4 days here since the first game. So with that, I'll take any questions.
We'll start with Gustavo.
Right. I see your players being very unique unit, being very.
How can you, see the unit of your roster? You see JG, supporting other players. How you see the players being together? After the goal. How you see the players being so, unit together.
Gustavo, the way your speaking is, I couldn't understand what you were saying.
Sorry. What I'm trying to say is, how do you see your players, supporting one another? I see JG posting an answer about, how, from DeAndre Johnson, he was so happy to see the support from other players. How do you see your players, supporting one another, giving, kudos to one another?
Can somebody tell me what he said? I can't. The way his speaker is, I can't.
Sorry.
I can't hear it.
Gustavo, we'll go back to you when you get the audio right. We'll go to Trey Wallace first.
Jeremy, can you discuss your secondary a little bit? I know you're not going to go into detail about positions, but how do you think Bryce Thompson, Alante, with the return of Tank McCullough potentially playing that safety spot, how would you sum up where the secondary is at on this Wednesday evening?
We had 3 guys that were really out for most of our preparation last week. We've got 2 of them back, so that will be a positive in having Jalen and Warren Burrell back. So it gets guys where they're kind of used to playing some of the same spots. But until you play in live settings, which Tank got to do and Warren did a little bit last week, got to be able to tackle in space, got to play the ball, got to be able to play man-to-man, got to be able to make calls, as they give you different formations and stuff. So, I'm sure these guys, and like I hope the rest of the secondary does, I hope we continue to work hard to improve, and as the game goes on Saturday, we get better as the game goes.
We'll go to Patrick Brown.
Jeremy, it looked like you guys played a lot of guys up on the defensive line and at outside linebacker the other night. How much of that is kind of based off personnel of the other team? How much of that is you guys maybe still trying to figure out who can help you best?
Well, we feel like we got some guys that, we got a lot of guys that we think can contribute. There's some of the guys like John Mincy and Amari Thomas that only maybe played a couple of snaps. They need to play more snaps. Darrell Middleton, hopefully he'll get a chance to play in this game. But we need to play a lot of guys, and at the outside backer position, we need to continue to do the same thing.
We'll go to Vince Ferrara.
Coach, we really didn't see much of Gray and Chandler on the field at the same time. Is that something that just South Carolina didn't give you the looks? Is that something you'd like to see more of moving forward to give you guys multiple threats on the field?
Well, I mean, we've got some wide receivers that we feel like are kind of like running backs. Velus Jones is a guy that, returns kicks, and he carried a couple of rocket sweeps the other night, and Jimmy Holiday's kind of that way. I would like to see us play, Jabari and T a little bit. T's getting back healthy, and Jabari's had a really good camp. So we're going to need more than 2 running backs as the season goes. So we need to get those guys some touches.
We'll go to David Uppen.
Jeremy, do you anticipate expanding your receiver rotation a little bit this, maybe getting some of the younger guys in there?
Well, we've had 3 more practice dates. So it's been really good for the freshmen, to continue to grow and develop. They're going to work hard. They're going to continue to have a better understanding. And as the season goes, they'll really control their role, how they practice, how they prepare. That's it's kind of the way it is with all positions. But I think there's some guys there that have the ability to help us, and they've got to work hard to be prepared to do that.
Mike Wilson.
Yeah, Jeremy, I was just wondering, what do you remember about Danico Slaughter's recruitment through the last cycle? And is it a surprise when you go down to Georgia and a guy right outside Atlanta that maybe there aren't more people in on a player of his caliber?
Well, he's a guy that came to our camp, had a chance to see him work out, see how he responds to coaching. He had a really good senior year, had a good program. So he's a good kid, good student. It's doing the right things important to him. So he's a guy that comes to work every single day. And, the way he goes about his business, he's going to continue to improve and get better.
We'll go to Ryan Cruz of the Daily Beacon, and then back to Vince.
Coach, looking at Missouri, what would you say is the biggest challenge for y'all this weekend?
Well, to start with defense, I'm talking about their defense, is eliminating them from creating negative plays for us. We don't need negative plays. We don't need to get behind the sticks. We need to be in manageable third downs. We obviously have nowhere to go but up when it comes to third down. Being able to run the football, especially in the second half, was a challenge for Alabama last week, and they done an outstanding job doing that. They've always played tight coverage. When you look at them on offense, Coach Drinkwitz, he's very creative. Mixes in a little bit of some option out of the gun with counter and gap schemes. They spread the ball around. They stretch you defensively, horizontally and vertically. So, maintaining their gaps and assignments and finding ways to create negative plays for them, getting some turnovers, being able to hold them to field goals in the red area. Special teams, they've got good specialists, kickers and returners. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us, but it's something that we're looking forward to. We're thankful to have an opportunity to play.
Coach, you guys preparing for more than one quarterback this week, and what do you see specifically in Sean Robinson, who got the start against Alabama?
I think he was 19 for 25 throwing the football. They had some pretty good things going for them there in the first half, and they had a couple of negative plays that got them behind the sticks. If it wasn't, they would have scored some touchdowns probably on those drives. So I thought they were efficient offensively. I think Sean's a guy that can extend plays. Looks like he's got good arm strength. It's just keeping him in the pocket and controlling him, running the football on the perimeter will be tough.
Austin Price, then back to David Uppen.
Coach, I know you guys are still waiting to hear on Cade. Providing he were to be deemed eligible to play, what would he bring to the offensive line? What are his best attributes? What do you feel like he does extremely well?
Well, I think Cade has experience in a tough league. He's familiar with our offense. As a guy, it's hard to unless you've played in this league a bunch of years, you're not gonna you're not going to duplicate it at practice. So he's a guy that's kind of been through the wars a little bit. I think he's a smart guy that can play multiple positions. He can play tackle, guard, center, tight end. But I mean, we've repped him all the way through camp with the twos at different positions. So, just in case it ever did happen, that we would be ready.
David.
Eli Drinklett's his third job in 3 years for him. How far back did you guys go to study his offense, and then what was that challenge like?
Well, during the off season, we always find different teams to study just to see how they do things, teams that have had success, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. And a couple of years ago, we studied a little bit of what some of the things Eli was doing offensively, and because he was having a lot of success. So, you go back to North Carolina State. That's as far as we went back.
Go to Patrick Brown, then Trey Wallace.
You talked a little bit about the secondary earlier. What did you see from Alontae Taylor, and what did you think? How did you think he played the other night?
I really think that was Alontae's best game he's played since he's been at Tennessee. It's not surprising. He works hard, comes to practice every day, approaches, everything the way you should. He don't take any days off, puts a lot of work into prep. So he's got to continue to do that, create some consistency and habits, and we're going to need him to play like that again.
Great.
Jeremy, special teams wise, are you glad you got a couple more days to try to figure out the situation when it comes to long snapper and also field goal kicking? How's that going to work out this weekend, and how much prep do y'all really put in during midweek practices?
For special teams,
yes, sir.
It consists of about a third of our practice every time we go out there. There's nothing to figure out for me. Will Albright's going to go out there and snap again. It's a guy that I believe in. He made a mistake. I made a lot more mistakes Saturday than he did, I can assure you. Somebody that he's going to go out there and he's going to do a good job, and he's going to be a great player for us. So, we'll continue to go the way we have been with him and Solinsky and let them swap in and out.
As a follow-up, I was kind of – I'm sorry, I didn't insinuate it. We're talking about Velus Jones as well, kick returning. How have you seen that get better over the last week, if it has?
Well, I think, in kick returning, it's about decision-making. There's some kicks that, based off the height, where they're located on the field, it's probably not wise to return them. So you got to be patient and kind of let the game or the kicks come to you, and make sure you make the right decisions back there. Ball security is a premium. He's got a lot of experience doing it. It's the first time in this, in our league this past week. I thought he'd done a really nice job, and he needs to continue to do that.
All right, last question, Blake Topmeyer.
Jeremy, I wanted to follow up on Jabari and T. Hodge. You mentioned maybe them getting some reps. Is that more from a need to just spread the workload beyond two guys, or is it more a case of you think there's something specifically that those guys provide?
Well, I think these guys had really good camps, and I think they have kind of earned the right to play some. I think that we need more than two backs, obviously. You probably need 4 or 5 or 6 really in this league. Another guy, Laneith Whitehead, he started taking reps on the scout team this week. So that's good to see. So hopefully as we kind of go over the next couple of weeks, he can get used to competing again. And he's had a long time off. So he's going to need a couple of weeks to kind of build himself back up to give us another guy.
Jeremy,
let's go to Trey Wallace.
Jeremy, it was just released by the SEC that they have approved the waivers for a few different athletes in the conference. So I don't know if that's news to you or not, but if it is, can you talk about what that means for having Cade Mays on the that will be able to participate in games, what that means for you and the team?
Well, I hadn't seen the release, so I really don't want to comment about it until I see it. That's okay.
Yes, sir.
That was good. Thank y'all. Reminder, Vol calls tonight at 8 o'clock.